What is going on? Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is the Catalyst of Development podcast, where our purpose is to help you find yours. And our vision is to communicate your potential so clearly that you're inspired to see it in yourself and begin walking in your purpose. This is episode 4 of a 4-part series. So this is the final episode of the 2020 goal series. We're going to go ahead and wrap everything up today. But before we get started, we're going to do a quick little recap on everything that we've gone over up until this point. We started with the intro, right? The intro podcast, that initial "how you doing? This is who I am," right? I took an opportunity to introduce myself, give you a little bit of background on me, what you could expect from listening and subscribing, what we intended to bring to you on a weekly basis. And then I got into a little bit of what I felt was the importance of development and how I kind of grew a passion for it throughout my leadership and life experiences. We started the series of 2020 goals actually during podcast 2 was the first one. And we talked about goal setting and strategy. We talked about the Goldilocks rule, SMART goals, reverse engineering, your roadmap to setting your goals and making sure that you can see them through. The third podcast and the second installment of the series brought us to habits. Some of the things we discussed during the habit podcast was increasing and decreasing the friction, consistency, visual cues, and habit trackers. I actually showed you one of mine and posted some examples out to social media that folks could get out there and either utilize, copy, download, whatever, all in an order to help you track your habits a little bit better. The third part of the series, we talked about the compound effect in Darren Hardy's book. We touched on things like patience and momentum and influence, influence and how vital it is with the things and the people that you put around you. We even discussed the formula for life and how depending on what you put in that equation, whether good or bad, will equal the results that you get out of it. In addition, you were given homework to do each and every episode. Now, this homework was set up as a building block, kind of like a staircase, if you will. I developed it so that it would grow upon each other and would help you. Every week you were given homework, you were supposed to complete it, and in turn, utilize it for the next week and just build and build and build and build. And that kind of is what brings us to this point. What is your why and a call to action? When I was thinking about how I wanted to deliver this podcast, a story kept popping up in my mind, and I knew I had to use it, right? Because I couldn't shake it. It's actually a story that my father told me a long time ago when I was younger. I think it fits the message that I'm trying to get across today perfectly, and it's the story of the 3 bricklayers. Once there was a man, he was walking down a street in a city, and he came across 3 bricklayers, all working on the same project, but in different areas of the project. And as he approached, he stopped at the first bricklayer and decided to ask a question. He said, "Excuse me, sir, what are you doing?" To which the first bricklayer replied, "I'm laying bricks." The gentleman then asked, "Well, do you like your job?" To which the bricklayer laughed, "Are you kidding me? I've been building this for as long as I can remember. It's extremely hot out here. The work is completely monotonous, and I'm honestly breaking my back. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to see this thing to completion, but the job pays the bills." The gentleman politely nodded and said thank you and continued on his walk. And then he came across the second bricklayer. So he decided to ask him the same questions. "Well, what are you doing here?" To which the second bricklayer responded, "I'm building a wall." "Oh, well, do you like your job?" "I guess. I've been building this for as long as I can remember. It's extremely hot out here and the work is a bit monotonous. I gotta be honest, I don't think I'm ever gonna see this done to completion, but at least it's going to be a good wall." The gentleman again politely nods and says thank you and continues on his journey. About 30 or 40 steps later, he bumps into the third bricklayer and again asks the same 2 questions. "Well, what are you doing, sir?" "Well, I'm creating a schoolhouse." replied the bricklayer. Well, do you like your job? The bricklayer responded, like it? I love it. Sure, I've been building this for as long as I can remember, and yeah, it is kind of hot out here, and the work is monotonous. I probably won't be able to see it to completion, but I'll tell you what, when it is done, future presidents and astronauts and doctors, maybe one that'll even cure cancer, will come to this schoolhouse to get educated. It will change the world. Now imagine that. Imagine these bricklayers, 3 different workers doing the same exact job, all for different reasons, all having different experiences. You know, if you look at the first bricklayer, he probably viewed the job as a task that honestly just needed to get done, a task that just needed to be completed. Regardless of the outcome, he was there for the paycheck. The second bricklayer, he was motivated probably by a sense of completion. He might spend a few extra minutes trying to get the bricks finalized and placed right for his wall, but that would have been it. Nothing more, nothing less. The third bricklayer, however, he was driven by a deep desire to create a schoolhouse. Every brick laid was a step closer to his ultimate vision. See, the third bricklayer knew why he was laying the bricks. He understood the bigger picture and envisioned it. The third bricklayer knew his why. And when we look at the 3 bricklayers, it's funny, I think a lot of us fall into the category of the first and the second one. You know, how many of you go to jobs every day and you're not fulfilled and you're not satisfied? And to be honest with you, you don't even know why you're there. You're there to collect a paycheck. You're there to get a job done. You may get a little extra effort, but nothing more, nothing less. How many of you truly know why you are there? How many of you truly know your purpose to showing up every day? I got to be honest with you, in today's society, I don't think that's many. All you have to do is look at what you see and, oh, thank God it's Friday and I can't wait till the weekend. People literally despise 70% of their week because they're at work. They get through the week so they can try to live for the weekend. That's a sad place to be. And unfortunately, I think that's where we are as a society. You know, we've spent the past few weeks talking about what you are going to do. What goals, what strategy, what habits, etc. But the key isn't to know the what. The key is to know the why. Because when you know your why, you have options on what your what can be. For example, my why or purpose is to help others find theirs. I want to be able to communicate your potential so clearly that you're inspired to see it in yourself and start walking in your purpose. That's my why. I tell you that at the beginning of every single podcast because I want you to know why I'm here. My what? Well, my what changes. My what's different. My what is a lot of things. My what is this podcast, my YouTube videos, my social media. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. Those are my what's. My what's are the speeches I give, the talks I have, the mentoring, the coaching, etc. You see, my what may change, but my why will always remain the same. Case in point, I've been working on a new idea for another YouTube kind of spin-off series to this. I don't know if I'm going to make it into a podcast or not, but I definitely know it'll be a YouTube series. And it's just a spin-off, right? It's another way for me to put content out there and hopefully start changing the lives for other people. Hopefully being a catalyst for development for other people. It's funny, I asked my squadron to help me out in naming this, right? And one of my friends, somebody I work with named Justin, right? He coined the phrase instigator to change. Right? So quick little backstory, the squadron that I work in, we're called the Gators. And he knew that what I was trying to put out there with this spinoff was pretty uncut. It's going to be raw. It's just going to be me talking. I may go live on some episodes and ask you to participate. I may just open up, social media and start scrolling and just pick things out and just start talking at random. I mean, it is uncut, unfiltered, unapologetically me, right? I want to be a thought leader. I want to get you thinking outside of the box, right? I want to instigate change. And it was perfect because he was like, you know what? You should call it instigator of change. So be on the lookout for that. We're going to get that rolling next week. But that is an example of another what. Right? Completely different, but it all ties back to my why. You see, when you know your why, your what has greater impact. Goals, more impact. Strategy, more impact. Habits, more impact. This is why your homework was asking why for each one of your goals. Why is reaching this goal so important to you? That's why I wanted you to answer that. You asked one why, and this is your surface level why. Now, I highly recommend, and if I'm being honest, I may know who put this podcast together, and you could be seeing this for homework. We'll have to wait and see. But I highly recommend that you ask why about 3 to 5 times until you drill down and get an answer that moves you, right? An answer that kind of stops you in your tracks and you're like, yeah, that's the reason. I'll give you a perfect example of that. For those that don't know, I used to smoke. This was a long, long time ago, more than a handful of years ago. And I always wanted to quit smoking, right? So one day, just like everybody else, come New Year's, I set the goal to quit smoking. And I was like, let me try a different approach to this one. So what I did was, I was like, you know what? Why do I want to quit smoking? So I answered it. Well, I'm tired of smoking. Well, why are you tired of smoking? Well, because I want to be healthier. Well, why do you want to be healthier? Well, my father passed away unexpectedly due to heart failure, and I don't want that happening to me. Well, why don't you want that happening to me? Well, because I want to be here for my kids. Oh, cool. Well, why exactly do you want to be here for your kids? Honestly, I don't want another man walking my daughters down the aisle. Bingo. That is my why. It took me 5 times to drill down to that, but that was the answer that moved me so much. I didn't want another man walking my daughters down the aisle. And anytime I thought of picking up a cigarette, anytime I wanted a cigarette, I remembered that why. And I haven't had one since. There's a few other reasons why knowing your why is so important. It's funny, and as I was drafting these things up, I laughed because I realized that these are the same reasons as they were for development. The one I talked about in our very first podcast, why we are here. So I'll give you 5 quick reasons outside of the one I just gave you on why developing and finding your why is so important. Number 1, it provides a sense of direction. It gives your life clarity. There's no more just going through the motions of life, which a lot of us do. Number 2, it improves your focus. It becomes easier to focus on what matters. You tune out the things that don't align to your why. You're less distracted. And in a world full of distractions, improving your focus is vital to you achieving your goals. Number 3, motivation. It is now your passion that drives you. You find your flow in life. We talked about the flow state last podcast, right? You're able to find your flow. Your confidence goes up. You start attacking your fears or those things that held you back. Number 4, resiliency. Finding your why improves your resiliency. Yeah, you're going to struggle at times. Yeah, you're going to run into roadblocks. Yes, you're even going to want to give up. But you'll always remember why you started. Just like for me, I always remembered the wedding. I always remembered walking my daughters down the aisle. It improved my resiliency. And number 5, and the final one, is knowing your why gives you a sense of fulfillment. There is massive fulfillment, not only in finding your why, but also when you start to walk in your purpose. Man, you wake up just ready to go at it because you now know what you are going after. You've got to find your why. And it can be an overarching why, or it could be a single why for each one of your goals. It could be different for every single one of your goals, but you need to figure out what it is. And this is when we transition from our what's your why into the call of action. All right, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to sugarcoat a lot of this for y'all. Right? We're not going to take it easy. In following this game plan, in trying to achieve your goals, will it be hard? Yes. Will you face challenges? Yes. Will you face obstacles? Yes. Will you want to give up? Yes. But if you don't, I can promise you this. Will it be worth it? Yes. You need to understand that difficult times and challenges are part of your contract with life. You don't get to live a life of meaning without some discomfort. Discomfort is the price of admission to a meaningful life. Hashtag facts. Real talk. Some of you are too scared to even take that first step. You feel that it's too risky and the chances of failing are far too high. What you're worried about is other people judging you. That's what you're worried about. You're worried about other people's opinions. So what you do is you end up overthinking things, right? And we all overthink. I overthought this podcast and starting this for the better part of 2 years, and it froze me. I didn't do it. We overthink every little nuance. That's exactly what you're doing when you're afraid to take the first step. You are overthinking because, let's be honest, you don't want to fail. You don't want to fail. You don't want to be judged. It's that simple. This overthinking makes you stagnant. You don't move. And half of you that are unhappy with your current situation is because of this. It's because you have become stagnant. You haven't improved the way you know you should have. We have got to stop overthinking. Man, I'm going to tell you a little secret right now, right? Just between me and you. It's all risky. Life is risky. But if you think trying's risky, wait till life hands you the bill for not trying. And I'm going to tell you this. That bill can only be paid off with regret. And that is not something you want to live the rest of your life with. Don't let this be you. Take the risk. Take the first step. Tell someone you trust about your goals and what you want to reach. And I don't care if you're a teenager, if you're in college, if you're well into your career, or you're retired. Doesn't matter to me. Now is the right time to take the risk and take the first step. Period. What do they say? The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is today. What exactly are you waiting for? Now's the right time. Take the first step. No one ever accomplished anything great by playing it safe. Show me somebody. I'll wait. Do you want to start writing a book? Ask someone out on a date? Launch a product? Start a ministry? Go to the gym? Start a podcast? Maybe you want to reach out to me for accountability like I offered you the very first time we sat down with each other and talked. Because nobody's taking me up on that. Maybe that's the risk you need to take. Reaching out, making yourself vulnerable. Lord knows I'm doing it sitting in front of the camera with you right now. I don't care what it is. Tell someone and ask them to hold you accountable. Take the first step. You have to start somewhere. Stop procrastinating. All y'all here, I got. If I asked y'all right now, raise your hand if you got a procrastination issue. I'm pretty sure 99% of you on the other side of that camera are going to raise your hand. 99% of you on the other side of listening to this podcast are going to raise your hand. But I'm here to tell you, you don't have a procrastination issue, right? If I told you to come to my house tomorrow morning at 5 o'clock in the morning and I was going to have $1 million for you, you'd be here at 4:45. Shoot, half of you'd be here at 4:30 and the other half would spend the night. Right? You don't have a procrastination issue. You have an importance issue. And the problem is the pain of remaining the same for you has not gotten so unbearable that you're forced to change. Don't wait for that pain to happen because it's coming. Be proactive and get ahead of it. Take the first step. There are 3 promises that I need you to remember. 3 promises. Number 1, you have a gift. This gift is rooted in your why, and only you have it. It is special to you. You have a gift. Number 2, someone, somewhere out there has a need. Someone, somewhere out there has a need that only you can fill. And finally, number 3, fulfillment will be found in the journey. The journey where your gift and the need collide. That's where fulfillment will be found. 3 promises: the gift, the need, and the journey. Now, I'm willing to help you in any way I can. Shoot, I'm even willing to stand side by side with you and walk this journey with you. But make no mistake about it. It is up to you to start your journey. It is up to you to take that first step. I'll let you know what the first step is for us right now. And it's completing the homework. This is super easy. Don't shy away from it. Take the time, sit down, and complete it. You've already asked the why question. You already have your surface level why. Now I need you to dig a little deeper. I need you to really get uncomfortable. I need you to dig so deep until you find that answer that moves you. That answer that stops you in your tracks. That answer that brings up such emotion, whether or not it's anger, hurt, frustration, I don't care what it is. You need to move yourself so much. And when you do, you'll know that's your why. You know that is your why for that goal. So your homework is to take your goals and dig deeper than that surface level why. 3 to 5 times, 3 to 5 whys should all should take to get you to where you need to be. But that's your homework. And then I need you to write it down. Shoot, get an accountability partner. Hit me up if you want to. Take a video. Let me tell you this. Have you ever been hurt, scorned, upset, disappointed, felt like you let yourself down? Like, do you remember how that felt? Right? The next time you feel that way, pull your phone out and take a video of yourself and talk to yourself. Talk to future you. Tell future you how you feel because you missed that opportunity or didn't take that chance or let somebody down, or better yet, let yourself down. And then the next time you're in that situation and you're thinking about giving in, you're thinking about skipping the gym, you're thinking about not taking the risk, you're thinking about not taking the first step, pull your phone out and look at that video. Remember vividly how it felt when you recorded it. I'm going to tell you right now, that helps with everything. That thing works wonders. If you don't want to lean on anybody else because you're not quite there yet, I'm okay with that. It's on your time. You do it when you're comfortable, but at least be able to open up for yourself, but write it down. I'll also be posting some resources out on social media that will help you if you get stuck with finding your why. So make sure that if you're not on social media, you're not following me on social media, you get out there because I will be posting some things. Linwood Gale, there's not many Linwood Gales. You'll see the LG3 logo or the code logo, but I am on Instagram. I am on Twitter. I'm even on TikTok. I'm on Facebook and I'm on LinkedIn. Track me down and I will be posting resources that will help you find your why. So that's it. That wraps up our 4-part series on 2020 goals. We've been through a lot. There's been a lot of information. There's been a lot of homework, but I really hope you're taking advantage of what we are trying to get you to accomplish, right? I told you from the jump, that's what makes us different. I'm not pulling out my pom-pom and cheer you on. Like, if you want me to do that, I'll do that for you, right? If that's what you needed to help you reach your fullest potential, then that's what I'm willing to do, right? But the goal was never to motivate and inspire you. It was to educate you. It was to educate you to motivate and inspire yourself so you could reach your fullest potential, so you could start walking in your purpose. I'll pull my pom-poms out and cheer for you all the time. I am your number one supporter. I want you to succeed. I don't understand why we can't wrap our minds around the fact that the world is full of abundance. There's enough for us all to win. It doesn't just have to be just one person, right? The sky would be awfully dark if there was only one star. So next week, we're going to be talking about why people fail. Make sure you tune in so you can learn how to prepare yourself for when those tough times come, for when those obstacles come. People fail because they don't know how to succeed. Next week, we're going to talk about why people fail and how you can counteract that. I want you to be proactive in this and not reactive. We have got to set ourselves up for success. So next week, we'll be talking about just that. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow. Make sure you don't miss it. I want you to be successful. So that's it. As always, thank you so much for spending time with me and allowing me to invest in your development. Until next time, continue unlocking the code to your fullest potential. Be a catalyst of development, not only for yourself, but for all those around you. Take care.